Now, joining us on the Main Street Family Urgent Care Hotline, Cole Cubelic of ESPN. Sir, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you guys?
We are doing great, man. Well, some first day of fall camp for Auburn opened up yesterday, and some big breaking news with Javon Robinson being dismissed from the team. What happened?
Well, my opinion is that this is more of a cumulative effect. I don't think that there was one gigantic issue or incident that took place. Possibly was there something that set Coach Malzahn and the rest of that staff over the edge? Yes, I believe that there probably was. What that is, he obviously is not going to say. As I had James Creppy on my show this morning from AL.com, and he spoke to Javon and asked him point blank, did you fail a drug test? No. Did you get an altercation? No. What happened? Didn't want to go into it. But he's going to say that he was disrespected and treated unfairly and stereotyped and every other word he can think of. But if you're going to come out, and this is what kids that age don't understand, if you're given the opportunity to voice your opinion, speak your mind, you're going to come out and make accusations, you better look at it from both sides. Yeah. And you better be straight up both sides, because if it comes out that something that he lied about, it did take place, he's going to get crushed, and deservingly so. Deservingly so. You can't attempt to put your coaching staff on blast if you hadn't been going to class, or if you failed a drug test, or if you hadn't been showing up for workouts, or you're skipping meetings, whatever. You can't do that. Can't have both sides of it. So Javon Robinson has been a headache since he arrived on campus. He has been someone who it took a lot to manage him. And I think maybe the coaches just said, we're done. Don't need to deal with it anymore. Don't want to put forth the extra effort. It's not worth it. You're not worth it. We're moving forward.
Cole, when you look at this situation, I know every situation, every player is different, but rewind to a year ago in the situation with Duke Williams in fall camp and how that kind of drug on. Do you think Coach Malzahn kind of looked at last year and said, you know what, we're going to do it differently than we did last year. We're going to go ahead and handle this now. He said yesterday didn't want any distraction. Do you feel like that had any bearing on how this went during fall camp?
No, I absolutely believe that played into it. I don't see how it couldn't, because I think that last year Duke Williams was causing problems. It was repetitive, and Damian fought for him and tried to keep him around. And next thing you know, it got to the point in season that they had to make a move.
Right.
And that obviously disrupted the locker room, disrupted continuity, and disrupted the team. And I feel like Gus Malzahn, more than likely, this is my opinion, saw this headed in a very similar direction and decided it wasn't worth it. And if they were going to make a move, they needed to make it now. And that's why he decided to just go ahead and say, Javon Robinson, we don't need you.
He says it's not a distraction, but how much does it really affect the team, and especially for Coach Malzahn and his future? I know a lot of people have got him on the hot seat, but how much does it affect the team and Coach Malzahn?
Well, nobody's going to fire or retain Gus Malzahn because Javon Robinson was dismissed.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it should help keep him around, because that's a tough decision to make. And that's the guy that was more than likely going to help you win football games, and you decided because of his actions that you weren't going to allow him to be one of those guys that could get away with things but stay on your team and disrupt the rest of the team. And you let him go. And you let him go at a tough time. Is it a distraction? Yes. Good news is these guys have a lot of film, a lot of practice time, and a lot of weights to sort of forget about it and put it behind them. And a lot of time before the season starts. I know it feels like it's close, but when you're going through two-a-days and you're going through fall camp, it feels like 6 months.
Yeah,
so, they'll forget about it. They'll move on. There's a lot of locker room chat right now, and guys are texting and talking about it and asking, what in the hell happened and how could this happen and what did he do or what did he not do? And some of them are mad about it, but every kid has friends on the team.
Right.
And, of course, his friends are going to be upset. That's their friend. But that doesn't mean they're justified in understanding how or why this took place if they don't know the whole story. Or if they look at it from both sides like a mature adult would, and college football players sometimes have trouble being that.
Right.
They would understand this is a move that needed to be made.
talking to Cole Cubelic on the Main Street Family Urgent Care Hotline. Cole, the obvious question that people have been asking over the last 24 hours is, what does this do to, obviously, the running back depth takes a hit, but we know Kerryon Johnson's a guy that'll step up. But who are some others that you look to step up in Javon Robinson's absence?
Well, you have to look at Malik Miller. I think he was the young man that was brought in right away, not to redshirt. He was brought in early. He went through spring. He's a guy that I think can be a bigger tailback, a more physical between the tackles type tailback. And I can't sit here and give you guys a description of how Auburn's a better football team, especially in the backfield, without Javon Robinson.
Right.
That's not a real thing. He was the best combination of size, speed, and power and agility at the running back position that they had. But there are options. I mean, Gus Malzahn's already said Chandler Cox, Cameron Petway are going to carry the football. So there's your short yardage situation there. And I think at times last year they played too many of them on the field at the same time. So it's a luxury now to sort of spread it out. Chandler Cox is a kid that can motion out to the slot. He can catch the football. Kerryon Johnson played quarterback and receiver in high school. He's versatile. He can do different things. You got John Franklin. You got Jason Smith. There's a lot of guys who can do multiple things in that offense. So I think you'll see Gus Malzahn sort of go back to his roots here. I think you'll see some trickery. I think you'll see a lot more movement. Yeah. I think you'll see a lot of guys doing different things within this offense and not be as, I guess, vanilla as they became at certain times last year.
You know, we've talked about Alabama and, of course, their quarterback battle, and, of course, Auburn has one as well. What do you expect from Jeremy Johnson, Sean White, and John Franklin III in this quarterback battle?
Well, I think Sean White's the guy. If they play tomorrow, Sean White's your starter.
Mm-hmm.
If they play next week, Sean White's probably your starter. John Franklin is going to need every opportunity, every rep, every practice, every film session to manage his way into being a starting quarterback. Will he have a role? Absolutely. He's too dynamic not to be on the field at times.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the bigger question is not quarterback. Do they win games with Sean White? Yes. Do they win games with John Franklin? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're going to win a lot of games, they need guys to step up on the outside. Because you can go back to Nick Marshall and make the comparison with John Franklin, but Nick Marshall had Duke Williams and he had Sammy Coates. And those guys can stretch the field. They could get over the top of the defense. And they can make the play they one-on-one. So who's going to be those guys? But someone on the edge that can force problems down the field. Nate Craig Myers, maybe. Kyle Davis already banged up again this spring. He's hurt in the spring. So I don't know if he is a guy that can come in and contribute right away if he can't stay healthy. Can Trevante Stallworth do it? Can Marcus Davis do it? Maybe. We'll see. Like I said, Chandler Cox might be a guy that can catch the ball in the backfield for you some. So they need guys who can remove defenders from the box, because the way this team is most effective at running the football is creating space. And if you cannot force defenders to the perimeter to respect what you do outside the hash, then they're going to stack the box and they're going to make life very difficult, just like they did a year ago. Now, it doesn't mean Sean White might be able to pick you apart out there.
Mm-hmm.
John Franklin might be able to hurt you running out there. But whoever it is, they're going to need some help from the wide receiver position, so somebody's got to step up quickly.
Cole, let's stay on the offensive side of the ball position. I know that's near and dear to your heart, the offensive line. I've heard you say some good things about the Auburn offensive line coming into fall camp. What do you expect of them? And going to have a good offensive line if they want to move the ball like Gus Malzahn wants to run the ball.
Yeah, I think they're the best guard combination returning in the SEC. I think physically they'll upgrade at center. I think Xavier Dampier plays with a little bit more leverage and a little more power than Austin Golson did. I think Golson's a more natural fit at tackle based on his skill set. Darius James and Robert Leff will kind of fight for that other tackle position. It's good to have another extra tackle that can maybe be a swing guy and play both ways, left or right. If Leff or James were to win that job, you utilize the other one to back up both. I'm worried about depth a little bit. I don't think they have a ton of guys behind them because, I think if Dampier goes down, you got Golson got to go back to center, and then your reserve tackle comes in, and then you kind of don't have anybody left. So I like the first five. I think that could be a strength of the team. I think the middle three can be the best in the league, if not the best in the country, as far as those three positions. They got a chance to be really physical and really good. I think they can cause problems for Clemson week one there. Clemson's defensive tackles are extremely athletic, but they jump around a lot. They slant. They play laterally very, very well, but they don't hold the point of attack. They're not anchors. They don't play heavy. And that could be a big advantage for Auburn week one.
Will Muschamp out, Kevin Steele in. What have you heard, and what have you? I know it's only after one day of practice, but what are you expecting from the defense from this year under Kevin Steele?
Well, the defense has experience. This is where this thing's weird. Kevin Steele, if he can get these guys on the same page, if he can simplify things, if he can eliminate extra decision-making from these guys and just allow them to go out and play ball, see ball, get ball, so to speak, I think this defense can be pretty effective. Now, they need Carl Lawson healthy. They need Montravius Adams from 2 years ago as opposed to last year. Mm-hmm. They need guys like Devereaux Lawrence to continue to grow and improve and be a factor on the interior. They need linebackers to stay healthy, but Trey Matthews played some football, but he played some at Georgia. T.J. Neal's played a lot of ball, but he did it in the Big Ten. You got a corner coming in from Ohio. You got a corner in Carlton Davis that's played 1 year. Same thing with Stephen Roberts. They got a new defensive coordinator. How do they react? They don't have T-Rob anymore. He obviously coached those kids up, had them ready to play. You got guys like Jonathan Ford, Montravius Adams, who are on their third defensive coordinator. So communication will be key. Being on the same page will be key. And if those guys are playing as a unit, I think they can be pretty good. I think they can definitely improve. And the good news for Kevin Steele is he doesn't have to coach a unit to give up 10 or 14 points a game. Let's be honest. If Auburn's winning football games, they're scoring points. Mm-hmm. So his job inherently becomes a little bit easier just because of the style of play they're going to have.
All right, Cole, we do appreciate you coming on with us, and we look forward to talking to you in the future, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Cole.
All right, there's Cole Cubelic, ESPN college football analyst, and also just right up the road from us up in Huntsville, so not too far from him. And interesting point of view on a couple of things, especially